Hello, this is RICKY, the Android guy. Hey guys, today I'm bringing you a sad video, and that is the 5 reasons why the Nexus 9 is the biggest disappointment of the year for me. And this was a very hard video to do because this was a tablet that I was looking forward to all year. I couldn't wait to see what the next Nexus was going to be. When I heard it was being done by HTC, I'm like, all right, they're going to redeem themselves from the Flyer, which was a couple years back that my girlfriend had and she had so many issues with. And this was going to be the thing that absolved them of that. And really, it just makes me never want to believe that HTC can do a great tablet. And so these are the 5 reasons. And again, this was such a disappointment to me, and these are the reasons why. So the very first reason, let's go through it, and that is price point. Price point for the Nexus went up tremendously compared to other devices. And with other devices in their same price, you have just better features. The two tablets that I namely recommend over the Nexus 9 is going to be the NVIDIA Shield tablet Wi-Fi with LTE. It stands at the same price with the LTE version at the same storage. Actually, sorry, 32 gigs of storage as opposed to 16. So you get double the storage and you get LTE. Plus, this version of the NVIDIA already has Lollipop on it. So you have pretty much a stock Android experience with pretty much the same thing, if not better. And then also the Tab S, you do have Samsung's additional TouchWiz, which some people might not like, but the screen quality is much better, battery life is better, and the fact that you can do things like fingerprint scanner, split screen, adding storage really saves up. And this is what you see in this. You have better processors on both that can run everything, whereas the 64-bit version of the Tegra K1 is really just lackluster in its performance. With camera quality, you have better on both on the front, on the rear. The Samsung one is definitely going to be better, and the NVIDIA one still holds up at 5. Now, again, both have expandable storage on the other two, whereas, of course, the Nexus will not. And both are going to be lighter weight than the Nexus as well, and thinner and less depth. So that's going to be the first thing that really just, with price point, you expect Nexus to be, on top of everything when it comes to that. And with this one, you just don't have that. And that was a really disappointment. The fact I was expecting a tablet, even if you raise the price of the last Nexus 7, it was 229 for the 16 gig. If this one would have been 299 or maybe even 349, it would have been better. But 399 is just too high of a price, especially when comparing to what else is out there. The second reason is what I was talking about earlier. The processor doesn't perform well because of the fact that although it moves quickly, because of the processor, it is again a 2.5 processor from NVIDIA. It's K1, it's 64-bit architecture, which is relatively new, but nothing takes advantage of it. Nothing on Android takes advantage of this architecture and processor, just like none of them do on iOS. But what it does cause is not so much compatibility. So there were so many games and different apps that just continuously crashed. And although this will change for updates, how long it's going to take, there is still not apps on iOS that take advantage of the 64-bit chip, and it's already been out for over a year. So although Android might update quicker, it's still not going to be a widespread update that will shock us. And that's what's really the problem. Apps can't crash on a Nexus device. The Nexus device is going to be the one device where they don't crash on. Number 3 reason is storage. How can you still give me a 16 gigabyte storage option without expandable memory? It's just, it shouldn't be available, especially at this price point of $400. It really should be at least 32 gigs if I can't add on any storage at this price point. And although there is a 32 gig option, that's about $80 more. It should come in 32 and 64 gig at the same price points that it's currently at. And it's just, although you do get, a lot of cloud storage, it's just not enough. People want storage built in because you not only want to have photos and videos on here, but you want to have lots of apps. And realistically, we don't want to have apps that we have to, uninstall, install, And if we wanted to download movies from the Google Play Store like I do, well, that's just going to be a real problem, and I'm going to run out of storage too quickly. The second reason, and this is something of Android Lollipop, I guarantee it's only going to be on stock Android because every other manufacturer will add this immediately. But the biggest problem of Lollipop is you can't close all your tabs. I am on the latest version of Android Lollipop, and that is going to be Android 5.0.1, and they still have not. This is the latest update, and I still cannot close all of my apps. This should be as simple as closing all of the apps. Very simple and easy to do. So why didn't they do this? Again, this is something that no other manufacturer will do, because every other manufacturer will have something very simple, and that is the ability to simply have it so you will have a close all button. It's just so simple and easy to do, and any manufacturer will add that. This does not have it. And finally, the biggest disappointment of the Nexus 9 that you can probably guess, because I've gone on over and over it on every single video I've had with the Nexus 9, and that is the aspect ratio. This is what you call a 4:3 aspect ratio, which is the same aspect ratio of an iPad. And this is a dying aspect ratio. The iPad is most likely going to go away from this even on their 12-inch version. And the reason is because this aspect ratio has a very funny and sad quirk. And that is that on this aspect ratio, when you play a video...
Like a new phone? The Note 4? Yeah, did you note that it comes with an S Pen? Mine has one too. I just feel really fortunate.
You don't get the full screen. You get cut off, and you get basically almost, 30% of your screen is being unused because you have a horrible ratio. And the reason why this is such a disappointment, it's more so because it's a Nexus. Nexus devices are supposed to be what Android is supposed to be. Yet, this isn't what Android's supposed to be. You know why? Because this space is being unused entirely. And even though you can put certain apps on there, it's not, what about this space right here next to it? Android just isn't designed to be a 4:3 ratio. You can only use it really with a 16:9 ratio, and no one is going to move to a 4:3 ratio. There has never been a high selling tablet in a 4:3 ratio. The highest selling tablet that was a 4:3 ratio outside of Apple was WebOS, the HP tablet, and that of course flopped. But every single Android tablet from Acer, from HP, from every single one that we've ever seen has flopped as well. And that's just because it's not a good ratio for Android. Every app is set to be 16:9. And we've seen it on the gaming review, we've seen it on other apps that they don't fill up properly because they're made for a 16:9 aspect ratio, not a 4:3. And that is the biggest disappointment of the Nexus, because it's supposed to show us what Android has to offer. But this is a poor example of what Android has to offer. A much better example is the Nexus 6, which stays true to the 16:9 ratio and which doesn't suffer from as many of these issues that the Nexus 9 does. This was, again, the biggest disappointment of, honestly, 2014 for me in tablets. Now, there are plenty of worse tablets out on the market, but when it came to a tablet that I had very high hopes for, that I was deeply disappointed in, that is the Nexus 9. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you liked this video and at least found it informative. This has been RICKY, the Android Guy.